it's Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my December TBR. December, it's the last month of the year, which did kind of sneak up on me. Like, I feel like I should still have 3 months before the year ends to finish all of my reading, but I don't. But we're here. The content warnings for all these books will be linked down below in the description, and let's go ahead and get into it. Up is going to be Ace of Spades by Faridah, Àbíké-Íyímídé. This follows our two main characters who are selected to be a part of their elite school's senior class prefects. This amazing start to the year becomes a lot more deadly when an anonymous person named Ace begins sending text messages that reveal secrets about them that threaten everything that they've built and planned for themselves. Ace of Spades is from my fall TBR, and December is definitely more of a winter month for me, even though most of it is technically still fall, and honestly, I'm fine with this being in my December TBR because I feel like this book is going to work, one, in any season because it's this book, but it's also dark academia, which in a way does feel very wintry to me as well. This book has been on my TBR for a long time, even before I finally hauled it. It sounds mysterious, which I should enjoy, and I have no evidence to back up this next statement, but it's dark academia and I should also enjoy that, just based on like everything that I already know about myself. And this book also does have a lot of positive hype around it, and because of all of that, I need to read it, and hopefully December is the month for that. Next up is A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcie Little Badger. This book is way too heavy to be throwing around. A Snake Falls to Earth follows our main character Nina, who has always felt and believed that there is something more out there. And then this also follows our other main character Ollie, who has been cast out from his home of spirits and monsters, and has since found a new place to call home in the banks of a bottomless lake. These two have no idea that the other exists until their worlds collide in a way that they haven't for centuries when a catastrophe befalls the Earth. However, there are some out there who would kill to keep their worlds apart. This is from my 2023 TBR, and it's the one from my 2023 TBR that I feel the strongest wish to finish before the year ends, out of the books that I haven't read from that TBR, of which there are quite a few. Like, a lot of these books are just things that are calling out to me right now, and this is one of them. It's been a while since I read Alatsue by this author, but I really enjoyed that book when I read it, and I want to read more from this author because of that. But this book definitely sounds like it has a lot of really cool and interesting things going on. Alatsue definitely did, and I'm looking forward to it. Next up is Blood Like Faith by Liselle Sambury, which is the sequel to Blood Like Magic. Blood Like Magic follows our main character who was given the task to sacrifice her first love to save her family's magic during her calling, which is a trial that every witch must pass in order to obtain their powers. This book has been in quite a few TBRs at this point. I just talked about it most recently in my November TBR, but this is going to be my next physical read that isn't like manga, novella, graphic novel, anything that is quick and short. I want to read this book because I really enjoyed the first book, and this author has another book that I really want to read, but I feel like I have to finish this series first and wrap up this one before moving on because that feels more fair and correct. And just because the first book took me a long time to read doesn't mean that this book will, and that's what I'm going to keep telling myself until it happens. And it probably legitimately won't actually take me that long to read. And by that I mean I tried to annotate this first book, it didn't go great. And because I never felt like annotating, I didn't read it for a while and like didn't pick it up for a long time towards like the middle of it. But once I eventually gave up on annotating, I picked it back up and I finished it, and it was great. And I've learned my lesson with that, so hopefully this one goes a lot more smoothly, but either way, it should be a good read. Next up is He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan, which is the sequel to She Who Became the Sun. He Who Drowned the World is the second and final book in the Radiant Emperor duology, which is an adult fantasy that is a reimagining of the Emperor of the Ming Dynasty's rise to power. This is kind of a strategic pick. Not only is it probably a guaranteed 5-star, but I tend to rank my series together on my year-end favorites list, and She Who Became the Sun is very close to having that #1 spot, and I'm hoping that He Who Drowned the World just goes ahead and solidifies that spot for me, because things are kind of close, and I don't want to think about it. I want to have an easy choice. I also just really appreciate books that fully suck me into them and take over my entire brain, and She Who Became the Sun was one of those books for me. So I'm obviously hoping that this book is going to do the same, but I also just really need to know where everything is going to go next and how it's all going to end, because I do have so much investment in this series, and part of me feels like I've been away from it for too long, and I don't want to be away from it anymore. Next up is Hunting by Stars by Cherie Dimaline, which is the sequel to The Marrow Thieves. The Marrow Thieves takes place in a world where most of humanity has been destroyed by global warming, and the indigenous people of North America are being hunted and harvested for their bone marrow, as it contains the key to resolving why the rest of the population is not able to dream. This follows our main character as he and his companions struggle to run and survive with the goal of making it to the north. I feel like my entire fall TBR is in this TBR, and that's because it is, but this is another one that I just really want to know where everything is going to go and how it's going to end. And I feel like this series has a lot of really interesting and compelling things going on, which makes me want to know even more. I do need to get either on the same page or, more realistically, come to an acceptance with our main character, because we weren't really getting along great by the end of book 1, which is both unfortunate and concerning, but I'm sure it will be fine. Next up is going to be Salt Houses by Hala Alyan. Before her daughter's wedding, our main character reads her fortune in a cup of coffee dregs, where she sees travel, luck, and just an unsettled life all around for her daughter ahead of her, which is something that she chooses to keep to herself that day. However, her predictions soon come true when her family is uprooted by the Six-Day War of 1967. This is one that I do plan to listen to on audio. It won't be my only audiobook that I probably listen to this month, but it is the most likely, so it's the one we're talking about today. It's supposed to be a very lyrical and very heartbreaking story, and it's also going to give me another glimpse into a history that I've been learning about. And this is one that I've been seeing get recommended a lot, so it's probably going to be my next listen. Next up is going to be Squire by Sara Alfageeh and Nadia Shammas. This is a graphic novel that follows our 14-year-old main character who has always dreamt of becoming a knight, and since the Empire is on the brink of war, she can finally enlist in the Squire training program. She then finds herself at a camp where she must hide her true identity while navigating friendships, rivalries, and intense training. However, she soon realizes that she and the other recruits may be in more danger than she ever could have realized. This is another one that I've been seeing get recommended a lot, and I'm always ready for graphic novel adaptations because I feel like I read them as soon as I get them, and then I just need more. Which is probably going to happen to this graphic novel too. It's not physically here right now, but at the time of filming this, it probably will be here tomorrow. A lot of the books I've been listening to so far from Palestinian authors have been really heavy, and while I'm sure that this graphic novel has its emotional moments too, Storygraph does have this one labeled as adventurous, inspiring, and hopeful, and those kinds of stories are important too, so I definitely want to work that in, and I've been hearing nothing but good things about this book, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. And finally, the last book on this TBR is another book from my fall TBR, which is The Atlas 6 by Olivie Blake. This follows 6 talented magicians as they try to qualify for initiation into the Alexandrian Society, where they will have a life of power, wealth, and prestige. Only 5 of them are going to be initiated, so they have to fight to survive the next year of their lives and prove that they are the best out of all of their rivals. I said this earlier, but a lot of what this TBR is are just books that are calling out to me right now, and for whatever reason, this book is one of the strongest when it comes to that. I don't know, I feel like it might have a cool bookish fantasy aesthetic that's also dark and mysterious, and that all sounds really fun, and while I was reading the description, everything just sounded good and like things that were going to really work for me, and I just have a good feeling about this, so hopefully it doesn't let me down because I've got myself really excited for it. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer your question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!